Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Happy Thursday. What's up, y'all? Good morning, y'all. How y'all feeling this morning? Man, listen, y'all. I ain't got time to chit chat with y'all this morning because we got a fire conversation. Yo, this joint giving me success session vibes today, y'all. Listen, man. I cannot wait, yo. We got a banging situation. So I I can't even run my mouth today. I gotta get straight to it. Who at the top of my list? Hey, yo, this gotta be a joke. Y'all let Mr. Elaborate Tour get in the first spot. Yo, he hacked his way to the top. Mr. Elaborate, what's up, baby? How you feeling up there, yo? The air a little bit fresher up there, ain't it? Yo, good to see you, Naeem, Tech Guy, Mr. Elaborator. Yo, this is your elaboration session, okay? Elaborate all you want. Hey, yo, hey, Autumn, don't do me. Only my dear friend Miss Simone will understand why I say good morning, yo. Yo, don't do me. What's up, though, yo? How you feeling, yo? Good to see you. Hey, Ken. What's up, Ken? Good to see you here. Chaos Smoothies. What's up, Chaos Smoothies? Yo, shout out to Chaos Smoothies. Shout out to Coach Johnson. We getting another contract to do the youth entrepreneur program, y'all. 4 schools. Reginald F. Lewis, Patterson, Forest Park, Douglas, yo. Watch out for that. We talking about $500 seed money, $200, $100, and we gonna do some nice espresso little sprinkles in the joint with the incentives and stuff. So it's about to be crazy, yo. So shout out to them, yo. I'm just hoping that the schedule work out and they can actually do it. Because if not, I might just knock on your door and say, hey, can you facilitate this class for me? We got a couple dollars for you. Well, what's up, yo? Good to see you. Tizzy Tay, what's up, Tizzy Tay? Good to see you, Tizzy Tay. Tizzy Tay, like, I want to be a judge. Yo, we need judges that's completely separated from the situation. You might be a guest speaker, though. Yeah, keep that in mind. What's up, Kid Core? How you feeling? What's up, Tanaya? What's up, yo? Good to see you. Journal J, what's up, Journal J? Yo, what's up, yo? How you doing today, yo? Not for sale. What's up in there? How you feeling? Yo, y'all really did a number on my little ice box today, yo. I'm not even about to get into that. But yo, G Channel, Tizzy Tay, Tech Guy, all y'all, no, yo. That's not what you do. I don't know who started that mess, yo. I think it was Autumn. But yo, that's not what we do around here, yo. Y'all gotta protect me unless y'all try to see me in the grave early, yo. Stop playing, yo. What's up, Drake Star? What's up, Chelsea? How you feeling, yo? What's up, Lyrical J? Good to see you. Always good to see you. Who else I got in here? Yo, what's up, Autumn? Autumn, man, you crazy. Hey, Raven. What's up, Raven? Hey, Taylor. Nisi Pooh. Yo, she said is the G channel new, yo. I love it, yo. That's just automatically that family vibe right there. Like, yo, you new, welcome. I love it. Thank you so much for that, Taylor. That gave me the in-person Thriving Thursday vibes right there, yo. I love it. What's up, Jordan? Jordan, I don't never forget you, yo. How can I forget you when I'm petitioning all your supervisors in your job to make sure that they get you off on Winning Wednesday, Thriving Thursday, Focus Friday, yo? They can work you to the bone. They can work you to your river dry out on the weekends. But tell them those days is our days, yo. We need you here with us, yo. What's up, though? How you feeling? What's up, Dorian? How you doing? Good to see you, Dorian. Dorian, you did an amazing job yesterday on the Winning Wednesday sessions, yo. Really appreciate the value that you brought. And also the G channel. Greg really showed out yesterday. And yo, is it just me or did my man's G channel mention on the low that he can sing and that he sung for some world famous gospel artist and he didn't hit a note for us? Am I the only one that missed that? Yo, G Channel, you owe us a verse. You owe us a verse. Yes, yes, yes. What's up, Marta General? You know I could never forget you, yo. Stop playing, yo. You know you the general out here with the flagpole and all that, yo. What's up, yo? Good to see you here. Hey, Deasia. What's up, Deasia? Good to see you here, Deasia. Yo, what's up, Breezy Breeze? People getting too comfortable in your spot, yo. What's up with that, yo? People getting too comfortable, yo. What's up, Asia? Hey, Ari, what's up? Good to see you. Hey, Summer, what's up, Summer? Good to see you, Summer. Summer. Y'all, we about to turn summer into fall around here, but you know what? I'ma chill because we got business to take care of today. Summer. Don't get that winter storm, Summer. Stop playing with me, yo. Stop playing with me. What's up, Bree? Candy Cabaz, Bree. What's up, yo? Good to see you. Summer, don't be giving me no little ... You know exactly, yo. You know exactly, yo. Summer about to be winter around here, yo. Stop playing. Yo. Good to see you. Raise the Cherry Hill. What's up? How you doing? Welcome. What's up, Amari? Yo, shout out to Amari too, yo. Listen, yo. When you just automatically become the leader of a situation and nobody said you was the leader, that right there is true leadership. When people recognize how you carry yourself, people recognize your integrity, people recognize how you treating other people and just how you carrying yourself as a leader, and then they just automatically deem you as the leader. That is leadership. And Amara, you are definitely stepping in a big way, shorty. Really appreciate it. Yo, Gemma, I did not ever skip Gemma, yo. Stop playing, yo. Gemma, what's good? How you doing, yo? And Yolanda, I did not skip you either, yo. What's up, yo? Stop playing. I don't be skipping nobody. What's up, Anaya? Good to see you here, yo. I feel like I got everybody. No, my man's Charles, yo. How can I forget my man's Charles? Yo, make sure y'all shout Charles out, yo. Charles got his first big speaking engagement, y'all, next week. He's going to be speaking for like 100 or so faculty and graduate students at Hopkins, y'all. Yes, and yes. We already know Elder famous already. So it's always a big deal when our heartbeats show up, but it's an even bigger deal when it's like your first time being in that spotlight. Like, yo, that's a big deal, yo. And think about where my man Charles came from. A lot of y'all don't know about the cuss out that he got over the summer. But, yo, what we say, when you get cussed out, it's either going to make you bitter or make you better. And he definitely let it make him better. And my man's just been on the come up. And make sure y'all see him about them flyers. I ain't never making another flyer again because we got some high official, yo. What's up, yo? Yo, stop playing, yo. Y'all be playing. All right, y'all. I feel like we got Nevaeh. What's up, Nevaeh? Good to see you, yo. Good to see you. Hey, Charles, ain't nobody making you nervous, yo. You in the big leagues now. Yo, we about to get ready to get our partners on here, yo. We about to get ready to have a great conversation. Everybody on here is responsible for having at least one person, yo, that's connected to city schools a part of this conversation. It is not that often that you get leaders from the top of the situation to come down here with us and have a real conversation. Anybody that want to get on, hit me up. I will give you the link. We will rotate people. So I'm going to let y'all help me manage the situation. But what I would like to do is if we could have like maybe 2-3 people on at a time, you ask your question, say whatever comments you got to say, and then hop off so that we can keep people rotating through. As many people that want to come on, yo, you can absolutely come on. Y'all see what I got? I bought my bowl of grapes because I know y'all about to dehydrate me with this conversation. I already know. I already know. Hey, Candy Cabals, I think you're trying to tell me something. I missed it, baby. Can you please copy and paste it back in the comments. I did not see your comment. I'm so sorry. Hey, Ma, y'all see my mother on here. Jordan said, what's the topic? Jordan, we got the leaders of the Baltimore City public school system here, baby. Y'all better hit me up if y'all want that link. Come on here. This is what we doing. Yeah. What's up, Lene? Lene, the activist. I can never forget about you, y'all. Never, ever, ever. Stop playing. Yes. You got $100 for a dedicated. Whoa. Candy Kebabs, you blessing somebody with $100? Did y'all see that? Yo, wow. Candy Kebab, Bree, thank you so much for that. Yo, what a way to start our whole entire situation. I'm definitely going to let you know because I got a few people in mind. Oh my God, yo. And if y'all knew what she been through recently and to come back blessing people, wow. Thank you, Candy Kebabs. Thank you. That is amazing. Y'all, we got the best heartbeats, yo. We got the best situation. What 18-year-old just pull up and say, I'm about to bless one of my peers with $100? Who does that? Oh, man, y'all. Y'all can't start with my icebox all early. Stop it. Man. Hey, y'all. Miss Sabrina, Corrine, I don't know if I'm supposed to be calling y'all out or not. I don't know. I just see your name. I'm so sorry if I'm not supposed to be calling y'all out. I'm just saying hi to y'all, though. We waiting for Miss Tina to come on. What's up, Say?
Hey there. Just saying hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be helping Chief Hike Hubbard, Tina, with her presentation. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Man, y'all, if anybody, okay, all right, I'm about to start dishing out this link, y'all. Hit me up if you want that link. Let's go. It's about to be real. My icebox is still stuck on Candy Kebabs just coming in the room like, yo, I'm about to bless somebody with $100. I love it. I love it so much. All right, y'all, hit me up. I see you. I got you. Let's go. Y'all got to send me a DM so I can get it to the top of my list. And like I said, y'all, this is what we gonna do. We gonna do a few at a time. Let's just say our limit is 4, and I'm gonna leave it up to y'all to help manage it. So once you get on, you ask your questions, do your comment, whatever like that. Step off and make room for somebody else so we can get as many people on as possible because y'all voices are the most important. Y'all voices are why we here in the first place. What's up, Mr. Rashad? I'm sorry if I ain't supposed to be calling you out like that, but you know I gotta say what's up to you.
Hey, peace. How y'all feeling? Heartbeats, Miss Joni, word up.
Man, listen, it's Heartbeat Nation over here.
So y'all the family. I'm just a part of the village. So I'm glad that we back connected and we doing things in the right manner. Camry, what's up, sis? How you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm blessed. I love it when you here.
Hey, it's purposeful. Everything is divine. Everything is in time. So we're gonna make this work. We got Chief Hike Hubbard is on, great colleagues from City School, Sabrina and Corinne. We're gonna have a good, open and honest conversation. We just had Chief jump on. She's gonna lead the conversation on behalf of City Schools. I'm gonna be on, but I'm gonna be monitoring the chats along with your heartbeats to make sure that we
Absolutely.
capture many comments and things of that sort. And I'll loop back in when time allows. But I relinquish my space to give to the young people.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, Miss Tina. You on mute?
I'm talking on mute. I'm here now.
Look, it ain't a real Zoom if somebody ain't on mute. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? It's good to see you.
It's so good to see you. I'm blessed. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you for letting us come. No, I think it's an honor that we get to come into your space. Please. No. We thank you because we got to get the word out to our students until they can make decisions for themselves and answer their questions.
Come on now. Look, they recognize you from Success Sessions already.
That's so funny. You know, my sister, who works in schools, actually went back and watched that entire session. And, you know, I talked about my mom and us and whatever. And she was like, wow, you went deep. I'm like, I guess I did. Because I was in the moment with the young people, right? You know, so anyway.
Ain't no other way to do it. What's
That's
up,
right.
Amari? What's up, G Channel?
Hi, Miss Joni.
What's up? Miss Tina, I hope you don't mind. We got heartbeats. They in the chat, flooding the chat. And some of them just going to kind of roll through and rotate through to get some FaceTime with you to ask whatever question or whatever comment they got.
Okay. That sounds good. And are we broadcasting live? We're doing it in a public space?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. You got to have a separate device up so you can pull up the live stream so you can see the chat going off.
Yeah, I can't. If I look at that and talk at the same time, I'll get too distracted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't get stressed. That's why I got my grapes, because we about to get dehydrated over here.
Hey, Joni, how you doing?
What's up?
How's it going?
I'm good, Miss Sabrina. Always good to have you.
No, it's good to be here.
Man, it's a blessing. Miss Tina, I'm gonna go ahead and let you get started off.
Okay. Are we ready? Are we live now? Are we ready to go?
Oh yeah, we ready. You on.
Let's do it. And I'm gonna say good evening to everybody who's listening in, and thanks you all for giving us the grace and space to be here with you this evening. We are very honored that we get to come and share City Schools reopening plans with you. And I will answer every question to the best of my ability. And if I can't, the team is here to take the questions down and to get that information back to our senior leadership. We can get the right answers for you. And I will say I've been talking to young folks around the city the last couple of weeks, and I've been elevating that information right back up to cabinet. So one example of a question a young person asked me was, are we going to have to wear uniforms at school? Is it a requirement, right? Because if parents can't afford them, how do we make sure that, and so I went back and they're like, we should create no barriers for kids to come back to school. So if they need help getting uniforms, let's get them for them. But if they can't get them, then they don't have to wear them. We want to make sure we're creating space for young folks to get what they need. So I also always ask for grace and spaces. I am a mom and I am at home with my own children. So I don't apologize for them because they have their own voice and person in the background, but you might hear them asking me questions or asking for snacks or whatever. So it is what it is. I've been being real honest about that. I have a 5 and a 10-year-old who are both City School students. So again, thank you for letting me come. I'm gonna do a really quick 10-minute presentation. I'm gonna run through it. And then if folks have questions, put them in the chat or we'll save them to the end. Let me get through the presentation really quickly and then we can dialogue from there. So welcome again. Thank you to everybody for letting us do this today. We're gonna talk about our plan for safe in-person return to learning and what's happening with City Schools. And then hopefully we can get to some of your questions. So we can go to the next slide, please. So for the beginning of this process, we tried to create a plan around community engagement to make sure that folks have the right information so that they can make decisions for themselves, both families, students, right, community partners. So we've been doing a series of town halls, both at the district level and now schools are actually hosting their own town halls where folks, they can talk directly to families and students, but they're also hosting open houses where teachers or families can come in and actually see the classroom space and how it is set up for in-person virtual learning, the spacing between desks, right? The desk shields, making sure you see the PPE, the screening that we do when you come into a building to do the temperature checks and all that kind of stuff. Folks can actually walk through that so they can see it because we can tell you about it, but until you actually see it in person, it may not feel real to you. It may not feel like it's a real thing. So we're trying to do that in-person opportunity. We're also doing our attendance bus tour around the city. Miss Sabrina Sutton and her team have been putting together attendance bus tour mentors to help promote our attendance for city schools, trying to get rid of barriers if students are having a hard time connecting why that is, so we can make sure we support them. If it's a broken computer, if it's a need for a hotspot, whatever it might be, and also just sharing information from different departments. Our wholeness team has been going with them. Our enrollment team has been going with them, so they can really support students in the community, for the folks having to come to us all the time. We put signs on a bus and we come into the communities. We're also, again, hosting additional community meetings like this one with young people. I think we have a plan to be on Faraji coming up soon for our young people to to have a question and answer on the radio, try to have different audiences and spaces to be able to come out and talk. And then last but not least, we're doing surveys right now, right? We have a family survey that's out right now. We have a youth survey that's out right now. We really are taking the feedback from our families, teachers, principals, our young people back into decision making. We're also being transparent about what we learn and putting that information back on our website. So our surveys we did in the fall with parents and youth and principals and teachers, that's on our website. You can go and see that survey data, see what folks said, and then we're going to be getting survey back information now and digesting it and putting it back out to folks. Okay, next slide, please. So why are we doing in-person learning? Why are we doing this? So there's a lot of folks out there with, different opinions about this, but there's a couple of things that we really know is true. So the CDC has provided a guideline and an urging that Center for Disease Control, has got a guidance and urging that we need to be back in person, that we need to offer kids an opportunity, if they so choose, to be back in person in schools. They're about half of our country right now has full in-person learning for kids across the country. Many of our private schools, even locally, have been in person since September. So we know that different students experience this differently, right? Some students are thriving in virtual learning, and that is, I'm so proud for them and I'm happy for them, and they have a choice to remain virtual if they want. This in-person learning is, no one is compelled to come back. No one is required, no one is compelled. It is a choice that a family or a student has to make for themselves, or whether or not they want to be back in person. But there are many of our young people who have expressed concern about social and emotional wellness, about their grades dropping, we have some students, frankly, who are homeless and don't have a place to be during the day to do virtual learning. And so we have an obligation to our students who are learning English, our youngest learners, right? Some of our students who are struggling at home with isolation or stress and anxiety from this pandemic and what's going on with them personally or with their families, that we have an obligation to our students to give them an opportunity to come back in person if they would like to do so. We also know school resources like food, programs, special education, counseling. While we're doing some of our counseling virtually, being able to do that in person also is going to go a long way to support our students and really meeting our basic developmental needs of our students. So we can go to the next slide, please. So for second semester in-person learning, we are offering the following in 3 different phases, right? So kindergarten through grade 2 will begin Monday, March 1st. Grades 3 through 5 and 9th grade will begin on Monday, March 15th. And for our 12th graders, they'll be offered the opportunity to come back the first day of 4th quarter, which is on April 12th. I know that there are middle school grades who are like, well, why not us? I've had 10th and 11th graders say, why not us? The reality is our middle schools and our high schools are our biggest schools in the district, and there's only a certain number of students we can actually offer safe in-person learning for. So that's why right now we haven't offered 10th and 11th grade or the middle school grades to come back yet. We also have data, which I'll share with you in a little bit, about why our 9th graders are so a concern for us, because that's the entry point to high school. These young people have not even been in their buildings yet this year. And so giving them that support for the transition into the high school years is really important. And we have some startling statistics about what's going on with our 9th graders that we really want to make sure we give them the opportunity. And like, as a reminder, we want to do this safely. We want to be able to have social distancing, and I'll go through those guidelines in just a moment, but also just to make sure that people know, again, it is your choice at every step of the way to come virtually or come in person. If students, I will say this, if students choose to come in person and they don't feel comfortable with their in-person experience for whatever reason, they have the right to go back virtual. I'll be very clear about that. Students have the right to pull back and go back virtual. But if folks don't choose in this beginning effort to come in person, it is going to be much harder to do the reverse, where I'm going to sit out for a while, I'm going to look at it, see what happens. It is because we have to compel and call back our staff. right? And so we are calling them back based on the response rate of families and students on whether or not they want to come back. So if you decide a month later you want to come back, if a school has space, meaning they didn't fill the capacity they thought they were going to fill, might be an opportunity for you to come back. But if a school is already full, it's going to be very hard for us to add additional students later after we've already started in-person learning. I'll be very clear about that for folks. I'm sure there'll be questions about that later. We'll go to the next slide, please. So we have done this. I call Dr. Durant, who does our equity work. She always talks about going slow to go fast, right? And I love that phrasing because it really is what we've done. This is an example here of we started out with 200 students over the summer months to practice making sure we got our PPE right, our social distancing right, our protocols in place, right? So we did that. Then in September, we rolled out our student learning centers. We had 15 student learning centers where we offered students the opportunity in grades K through 5 to come for in-person support for their virtual learning. So they were doing their home schools virtual learning, but got support on site through proctors and support. And there was some recreational activities provided through Parks and Rec. And then in November, we did 2 phases of both opening separate public day schools for our students with special needs, as well as our pre-KK specialized programs and students who are learning English. And then later in November, we opened up more traditional schools and charter schools. We had a total of 38 schools between the two that were opened for our students in the district. And in those spaces, we've done, students with disabilities, our English language learners, our early learners, especially kindergarten, students frankly struggling with virtual learning, homeless students, or even our students with parents who are essential workers and needed their kids to be back in person because there was nobody at home to actually be with them. And then finally, our last phase of rollout of in-person is now in March. We are expanding our opportunities for in-person. But all of these points along the way have allowed us to make sure we understand what we need to do to manage in-person learning successfully. And I will tell you, I'm very proud to say we have not had one single case of COVID transmission in any of these programs. So what does that mean? That means we may have had a student or a staff member, frankly, who has had COVID, but because of masks, social distancing, temperature checks, contact tracing, pods of small groups of learners together, we have not had a single transmission where one person gave it to another person at one of our student sites. We've only had one transmission in the district, and that has been at a meal site where an adult gave it to another adult at one of our meal sites. But in our classroom settings with students and teachers, we have had no COVID spread. Can we stop COVID coming into schools? No, that's a reality. I'm being real honest and transparent with you. What we can do, though, through the CDC guidelines is to make sure that those COVID germs don't get transmitted to one person to another, and that we keep our folks safe when they're in person. And we're very proud to be able to say we've been able to do that. Next slide, please. So here's the CDC, Center for Disease Control, the 5 key mitigation strategies that they have been recommending this whole time and came out with this week even stronger, saying we should have in-person learning if you have these things in person, right? So consistent mask wearing. It is important that at all times, every person in the school building is wearing their masks, right? Social distancing, keeping folks apart, separated in the classroom. We have desk shields around the desks and keeping students safely apart in the classroom along with teachers. Hand hygiene, having the right soap and paper towels and hand sanitizer available to all of our schools, and making sure that folks are keeping those masks on and managing that. Cleaning and disinfecting, making sure that all of our surfaces are cleaned regularly. And I will tell you all that instead of asking individual schools to pay for this and to buy their own PPE and disinfecting and that kind of thing, the central office is actually buying this for schools and giving it to schools so that we know that every school has what they need for this program. And then honestly, contact tracing. So if someone does have COVID symptoms, we have testing that we can do with the University of Maryland to come to the site and do testing. But then if we find there's a COVID case, we actually will shut down the pod of those students and they will quarantine for 14 days so that they stay apart. And because of doing that, that's how we've been able to not have any COVID spread in any of our schools. So we are really being judicious with this and making sure that we are thoughtful and methodical about these mitigation strategies to make sure temperature checks when you come in, health screenings when you come in the door, right? To make sure that we are being mindful of COVID symptoms and potential COVID spread. Next slide, please. So testings and vaccinations. Again, we've only had one transition event at an in-person meal site this year. We have a partnership with University of Maryland and with Hopkins. Thank you, Hopkins, for helping us provide testing and for vaccination. So University of Maryland has a COVID van that has been driving around and doing symptomatic testing. So what that means is if someone actually has experienced COVID-like symptoms, we will give them a COVID test on site. A student, a teacher, and frankly, a student's family could even come in and get a test on site if they have COVID-like symptoms, so we can make sure that we are being safe. We have a partnership with Hopkins, University of Maryland, to do COVID vaccines for our staff. Right now, only the Moderna vaccine is actually even eligible to give to students 16 or older. The Pfizer vaccine is actually 18 or over, but as you might know, the state of Maryland decides who is prioritized for vaccinations and who is not. And at this time, our young people are not prioritized for vaccinations. It's frankly our older citizens of our state, those who live in nursing homes or assisted living facilities. We've also been able to get teachers and school-based staff prioritized for vaccinations. So right now we have offered, I think, a total of 6,000 staff members from city schools have been offered the chance to get vaccinated, and then they'll go in rotations of getting an appointment where they can go in and get their vaccine. And we're trying to get as many staff vaccinated as possible, but the CDC has said, and we actually agree, that there is not a requirement for staff to have to be vaccinated before they come back to the classroom, but we're also trying to make sure we can offer that opportunity to as many staff as possible. It's teachers, custodians, it's cafeteria workers, right? It's everybody who is in-person, principals have the opportunity to get vaccinated before they come back in person. We are also considering additional testing opportunities. We're looking at some pool testing. The school board, if you want to watch the meeting on Tuesday, will actually be debating and discussing, I should say debating, discussing an opportunity to do more testing in site for asymptomatic testing. And there's more to come on that on Tuesday. But it's an opportunity to then think about, if we're doing this kind of asymptomatic testing, will we know more about what's happening at school sites when this actually occurs? Next slide, please. So people are wondering, I've heard concern about our buildings and the air purification and our heating systems and that kind of thing. So let me be real clear about something. Our ops team has tested every building to make sure the ventilation systems are working effectively. If they are not working, let me pause there. If they're working effectively, we're putting MERV 13 filters on our schools. Those are air purification filters that are actually even higher than the recommended from the CDC. That filter is a really strong filter that purifies the air, recycles the air for fresh air. If we cannot put that on our ventilators because they're just not, frankly, working effectively, or they're not strong enough to ventilate the air that way, we are putting air purifiers in every classroom where we feel like the systems need improvement. So we've purchased 8,336 air purifiers that will be placed in classrooms around the city. So we're putting up a dashboard on our website. It should be up by Monday, I'm hoping, where any student, any parent, any community partner can go and look and see not only your individual classroom, but the overall school. Has it been cleared with either an air purifier working in this building, or the MERV 13 filters have been installed in the school? And you'll be able by Monday to actually check that out and see your own school and where they are in the process. But by the time folks are coming in person, you will see that every single one of those schools actually has the air purifiers or the ventilation system installed in their buildings. Next slide, please. So we also recognize that this pandemic has had a social and emotional impact on our students, right? And our staff, and frankly, our city. And so students have experienced personal loss. Students have experienced personal hardship, family hardship. And we know that even just the toll of being at home without support around them has been challenging, let alone the other factors around the pandemic that have caused trauma and stress. So we have been offering counseling virtually to students who have needed it, but we also know that being in person might be a solution for many of our students who need that kind of in-person support to deal with this trauma that they've been experiencing, right? We also know there's research out there that we've also experienced and heard directly from our parents and some of our students that children who are living in poverty or who have difficult economic situations going on at home, and also children of color, have been deeply, deeply impacted by this COVID virus, by this pandemic. And so we as a district need to do what we can do to support our young people to navigate through this, right? We also are asking our teachers to focus on relationships first. While we want to get back on the academics, relationships with our young people matter so much to us as a district, and we're asking our staff to make sure that, yes, kids get caught up. Think about academics, but focus on building relationships, repairing relationships, and addressing that fear and anxiety that the pandemic has created for our students. That's actually an impediment to their ability to learn. Next slide, please. So just a couple points on data. I've been sharing this around towns. I want to make sure you all know what we've been sharing publicly with everybody else about the data we've looked at for first quarter. So we know that we've had a huge increase in the number of students who have failed one or more course in the first quarter of schooling, right? And you all maybe have experienced this yourselves or have friends that have experienced this, but I think you have the right to see the data as well about what we know we've pulled out in the data. So in quarter one of 19 and 20 last school year, if you look at our 6th through 12th graders, 38% of them had a flag of failing a course or more. That number is not acceptable, right? We got to do better by our students. We got to support them in that. But now we move to quarter one of this school year, and we have 60% of our students in 6th through 12th grade have experienced failing a course or more. So we have got to figure this out. So if you're choosing to come back in person, we're going to address this, but we're also going to address this virtually. It's not just because if you choose to stay virtual that we don't give you extra support. Nope. We have to figure out how to do this better, how we address this, how we are navigating virtual learning or in-person learning, whatever our students require or need, to make sure that you have what you need to be successful. And some of these course failures could be because kids weren't showing up. It could be because they didn't have a working laptop. It could be because the hotspot wasn't working, right? So we've been doing a lot of work around our attendance strategies to make sure that we are addressing those concerns. If you don't have what you need to connect, let us know so we can get you connected, right? But it's also about teaching and learning and what's happening in the classroom and giving the support that our students need to be successful. But I've heard some students say to me, I checked out. I can't do this virtual stuff. It's too hard for me. It's not working for me. So for those students, we're offering them the chance to come back, right, in person. For those who are saying, I'm on virtual, I'm going to stay virtual, but I need additional support, we got to have a call to action to our teachers and our schools to make sure we're providing the right supports for our students so they can be successful. Next slide, please. So this is another data point, right? It's for 9th and 12th graders. We have percentage of students who had GPAs that are 1.0 or lower. We had, if you see this, our 9th graders, this is why 9th grade's coming back, right? This is why we're offering 9th grade to come back, not that they have to. In quarter one of 1920, 29% of our 9th graders had a 1.0 GPA or lower. In 2021, 49% of our 9th graders had that GPA. That data is not okay. And we recognize that, we're owning it, and we got to figure out a way to change that, right? So that's why when 10th and 11th graders say, well, why not us? It's because our 9th graders is setting up their beginning of their high school trajectory. We got to make sure we get this right and we move away from this. Now, I will tell you, quarter two has ended, right? And we are looking at quarter two data to see, did we do better? Because we use this data to begin to make changes, right? And to think about getting better support to our students. But we don't have that quarter two data to release yet. But when we do, I'm happy to come back and share it with you. But it will be available on our website as well, so folks can see what's happening in quarter two and if we got this right or got this better. Next slide, please. Oh, that's it. So I'm gonna stop there. I said a lot. I'm gonna pause for a second and take any questions, comments, thoughts. And Rashad's stating this here too. I might call on you, Rashad, if I need you to help me answer any questions, if I can't answer them. And like I said before in the beginning, if we can't answer something, we're gonna take it down. We'll go back at the answer and come back to you, but I will do the best of my ability to answer every question that you all have for me.
Thank you so much, Miss Tina. I'm going to let the Help B2 on now. I'm going to let them go and ask their questions in person. I swear to God, you got like over 100 and some questions just in the chat alone.
Wow.
So
okay.
I've been screenshotting them and everything. So we're going to try to get to as many. But before they get deep into the conversation, my question for you is, does your schedule allow you to go a little bit over time if we need it?
Yes.
Just because the request is overwhelming, everybody's saying, can we please extend this session?
Yes, we can. Until my children start telling me they need to go to bed, I'm on. We can do it.
All right.
I might have to get a glass of water or something because I'm talking a lot, but I'm good.
Listen,
Yes.
I told you they're going to dehydrate us. I got my grapes.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and start. Let's start with Amari, and then let's do G Channel, and then let's do Lene. And anybody else, if you want to ask your question in person, hit me up. I'll give you the link. But if not, I got a lot of the questions. And thank you, Cam. And thank you, Journal J, for helping me to keep track of the questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amari. I am a Weston High School student. I'm in 12th grade. And my first question is to you guys. I want to know about 12th graders and specifically like about how graduation, I know it's kind of a little bit further down that line, but I feel as though how would that play out with, you know, us going back to school, if we go back to school? Because I'm looking at the data in which you showed us and like the grades, and I'm just trying to figure out, why do you guys want 12th graders to go back to school but not the 10th graders? Because the data is more severe. Does it have to do with graduation and stuff?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that. So one, be honest, I don't have the plans for graduation yet because we're really focused on reopening just right now, right? Because we have to do not only reopening, but also recovery, right? Because we know that we've had some learning loss, we've had some struggles, so we got to do our recovery planning. So that's going to start as soon as it's been starting already, but we're going to really start when after reopening happens. So that's the first thing. So we'll get back to you on graduation plans for that. But for those 12th graders, it's their last time with us at City Schools, and we want to put our hands on people, right, and make sure we get what you need. So if you need transition programming, right? You need to think of what your next step is going to be. You need recommendations written for a college. We need to be able to have them the opportunity to be able to come back and be able to connect. You know, we let our 12th graders go last year and they didn't have any touch point from us because it was the end of the school year. March hit and they had nothing. And so we felt like we had an obligation to our students who were leaving us to give them that, to have that sort of touch point before they went on and graduated from us. But we will be happy to come back and share graduation plans. And I could even bring our college and career readiness office back to do another session if you'd like us to, once those plans get figured out, and they can really ask real-time questions for that.
Okay, my second question would be about the workload for us. I feel as though would that change when going back to school as well? And also with that, I wanted to know also about the grading policy, because I feel as though it's just so impactful, especially on my end, like as a 12th grader trying to like get to colleges, 70% assessments. I feel like that's a lot, and you have to pass your assessments to graduate, and not all teachers are doing what they're supposed to do to actually put in the grades. So that's why most kids are failing, and it's just, I feel as though it's not fair to us, even if people can't go back to school. Like some kids can't even go back to school. So I'm just trying to figure out, how can you help us with that? Because it's ridiculous. My GPA does not look how it was in 7th and 11th grade, mainly because of my assessments.
So I appreciate that. And I must be real honest, I don't work on the academics team, but I'm going to take that back to, and I trust and believe, I sit in cabinet every week and I share the stuff that I hear back with them. I will take that back to them, because I met with a group of students last week who said the same thing, that one student shared that he had a GPA of 3.8 before this pandemic, and now he has a 1.9 this year because of the pandemic and the struggle that he has. And so I think that that's real. I appreciate you elevating that. While I can't answer that, I can also take it back and just share that the grading policy is students are feeling is having an adverse impact on their GPA right now in this virtual setting, and see what they have to say, and we can come back and share that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I was asking for water. If you heard me talking off screen, I was just asking them to bring me some water so I can make sure I stay hydrated.
All right. Is it my turn? I guess it's my turn. Okay. So I see it in the comments. There's this one thing, and I really do agree with it. There is a lack of communication between teachers and students. Now, the school that I went to before, I don't go to now. So there are teachers that I've never even met in my life, or never even heard of these people. So they don't know me and I don't know them. the school that I went to before, my GPA was a 4.0. I was a grade A student. I was known in the building. Didn't nobody walk in that building but with me and knowing what I could do. Now my GPA looks nothing as the same. I have no communication, and my answers on my test may be the same or something like that, vary, but they don't look the same. And I can't always get online because, you know, certain situations, power outages and stuff like that may happen. And there's no way in the world that certain natural causes of the weather should determine whether I pass or fail.
100%. Rashad, you're getting this down for me, right? And and if you want to, put in the chat which school you go to, you don't have to say it here now because I don't need to call folks out. But if you want to put in the chat, or you want to shoot Joni an email, make sure we have it. I think we need to make sure we call attention to the fact that we have to. So part of my work and my team is to build the capacity of our staff and our schools to engage with families and young people in a more robust way. And so we need to elevate that concern directly that you're talking about to that school community, and I will do that. But I completely understand your concern because like I said before, relationships matter tremendously. And my own child who has virtual learning, I won't say his school, but his teacher said, we're not going to accept late assignments after 3:00 the day of the assignment was given. And I said, I'm sorry, I work 15-hour days. I work from 8 a.m. until I don't know when I work before I go to bed. I can't check his work every day. And your parents can't do the same for you. It's impossible. And so we have to create space for people to have great things turn in a little bit late, or how that looks, that we can accommodate, right, what students need to be successful. So I'm going to elevate that back as well, because that is a serious concern that I had. I actually went to my child's principal and said, it's not acceptable. And she was like, yeah, no, it's not. And so she's fixing it. But like, that's a reality, right? So I appreciate you saying that, and we'll make sure we take that down, and I'm going to make sure we share that back with our chief academic officer and our chief of schools, and frankly, your school.
All right. Also, I really don't think this is going to happen within a day, but I want every school's grading to be the same, because I got a little bit of a hint from a teacher at my old school saying, hey, that showing up is about 50% of your grade. And then other people from other schools told me that showing my face, or at least logging on, is about 50% of my grade. And I don't too much believe that, but showing up should be a nice percentage of grade, because all I'm doing is getting work day after day after day, different tests and different quizzes. Quizzes are supposed to be something that just was popped off at the end. You're supposed to know most of the answers. They're teaching, say, about 5%, and just 100% just giving me work. And then I don't know what to do. They're not teaching. They're kind of just trying to make a certain deadline every 5 minutes. And that has been something that has been very hard on my mental.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And I know participation is a certain percentage. I think it might be 10%, or is it 50? I don't know what the percentage is, the grading policy, but to your point, it needs to be consistent across schools. It shouldn't be unpredictable, but participation is part of the grading. But I do appreciate that. I'm gonna make sure we share that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for being honest.
Hi, I'm Lene, by the way. So
I like the purple.
Oh, thank you. So we all know that y'all great, like we all know y'all school systems, y'all are really down bad the past couple of years. Y'all are down bad 50% out of the 25 districts in Maryland, basically, in 2016 and 17. Yes, those are correct statistics. So my question is to you, what are your effective what is your effective performances given to these students mentally and emotionally? Like, how are you going to amplify that within the students? How are you going to have that type of relationship, and how will you get those teachers to have those relationships with those students? And how will you continue to have those relationships with those students? Because it's so much more than a grade to a student. It's so much more to them. It's like they're a person, and they're not, just a paper and a grade and just a number and a dollar sign to the state and to your school system. So how will y'all, have those relationships with them?
I appreciate you that. So the blueprint for our district calls out for a specific focus on leadership development, literacy, and wholeness. So I'm speaking to the wholeness part of this, right? What you just elevated. It is wholeness means a lot of things. One means self-actualization, students being able to realize their full potential and experience learning and things that they feel great about and who they are. But it also speaks to having culture and climate in schools that actually is supportive of our students, right, and our communities. And so I know that our wholeness team at the district has been working on a lot of climate work to try to figure out how we support schools and improving the climate, but also how they build relationships with our students and coaching. So we have restorative practices work going on. We have coaching going on with SEL practices in our schools, and really having dedicated coaches that are actually going with teachers and schools to do targeted support so that they can actually learn how to better build relationships with students as part of it. You can't teach and just throw information out. You've got to build relationship with people in order to do that. So the district is working on that. I know we can do better, and we have a lot of work to do, but it is an intentional effort by the district to really improve the relationship building and the intentional wholeness work that we're doing with students in schools.
Can I add on to
Yeah.
what you said? So I saw a comment that Cam had posted. If y'all know who Cam is, KR Smoothies, and I kind of wanted to, expand on it just a little bit. Why don't you have a youth-led group have these training camps with teachers instead? Forget about the coaches, okay? They're not youth. They don't get that. I'm not gonna say they don't get us, but they're not us. They don't understand what most of us go through. They aren't us. So why not implement a youth-led training task force for teachers so that way they can teach the teachers how we think and what's best for us? Because
I love it.
coaches may not know what a lot of us think. Y'all know how to, do the 90s version. We need like the 2021 version of how we do things, because now we're in a pandemic. So we got to switch up our way of thinking. We got to grow, and we have to, rebrand. You have to rebrand city schools. So how will that ever happen? Or would that ever be a process? And
So
if
first of
so,
all,
can Heart Smiles lead it?
So I love that Joni, she called us out talking about we're from the 90s. I'm just going to put that out there. I appreciate that. I did graduate from college in the 90s. You were 100% right. That is the truth. But I love that idea. I'm not going to promise how it can happen, but Rashad Staten, who's our youth engagement specialist, we have been working diligently to revise and figure out what our youth engagement strategy looks like, right? So we do have a program right now called Youth Ambassadors. We're trying to stand up where young people at schools can then decide what they want to work on in their school communities, and we provide resourcing and support to develop their programs. But I love the concept that you just proposed of how we get young people to talk to teachers about what they need in a more organized, supported way. So Rashad, let's take that down as part of our strategies for next year. I absolutely love it. And if Heart Smiles wants to collaborate on helping us figure out what that might look like and how we do that, I love it. So thank you for that suggestion. I think it's great. And Rashad, I hope you're nodding your head too, because I'm now pushing you into work. Okay. Love it. Thank you.
Can I ask a question next?
Yo, I put the order in the chat. It's on Maul. I'm sorry, Journal J. You right at the Naeem though. I'm just going with people as they come on.
Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Mar. I recognize y'all from last year when we was in that conference room at Bloomberg.
I remember you, yes.
And now I don't go to Dunbar no more, so I now go to like a private school. I go to Cristo Rey now, and going from Dunbar to Cristo Rey, I see a tremendous change within like the school systems and stuff like that. One thing my school does is Blackout Week. I pretty much mentioned this to everybody. I'm a youth advocate, and I'm advocating for all my peers that's on this call right now and also on YouTube as well. And I feel like Blackout Week is basically a week where we just shut our computer screens and we don't do no work basically. It's like a mental health break or something like that, I can say. And pretty much they've been working very well with everybody mental health and basically our school system. And a lot of teachers are very aware of things that's going around in America right now that impact us as individuals, the Black Lives Matter protest, what happened at the Capitol and stuff like that. So they're very aware of everything that's going on. And I just like want to see like what is teachers doing in Baltimore City, teachers and administrators, what are they doing like to help kids with their mental health? Like what are they doing to like make sure they're in a good mindset of like being in virtual school? Because sometimes school was a safe place for students, and a lot of students have been going through their struggles. Like I know a bunch of kids I know that's my age that have lost their grandmother or their grandfather or their cousins from COVID-19, and right now trying to they're trying to like have grief, and they trying to like breathe and trying to like give some time for themselves, I guess I can say. And I feel like a lot of teachers are not like paying attention to that. Even with I'm stuttering. Even if we was in person, it been times where I lost my uncle last year. Was it? Yeah, last year around this time, and basically I was explaining to my teachers that like I just lost somebody. I don't think I'm like mentally prepared to do the work today. I feel like I should get a break or something like that. And they say, okay, you can send them back to the classroom, but you're still gonna do this work. And it's like mentally, I'm just thinking like, okay, probably they don't care about us. Probably they got some stuff that's going on with themselves as well. But like now going to a different school, teachers was able to express their feelings, and that's what I recognized. Because one time I was like at a coach class, a chemistry coach class, and my chemistry teacher had said that this virtual learning is also hard for them as well. He recently just had a newborn baby. He trying to take care of his baby while he like teaching the class and stuff like that. Trying to get us ready for like college and preparing us for the future and stuff like that. So I can understand where the teachers coming from, because they did sign up for this, but they didn't know like this was going to happen. They didn't know this was going to be part of their job, and they feel like they're trying to find ways to like navigate and trying to catch their students' attention. But I feel like Crystal Ray is doing a great job with like their mental health and everything like that. Well, having the students' mental health their main priority. So yeah.
So what I hear you saying, and I do remember you from that meeting, and thank you for elevating that. I hear you saying is that we need to make sure we're paying attention more to students' mental health, given that they are going through a pandemic, just like everybody else is going through a pandemic. And how do we do that? And I know that there has been guidance given to schools about, paying attention to students when you're on virtual learning and what that looks like. So that if you recognize, someone who is struggling, someone who's disconnected and they need some support, how do we make referrals to get that student support, the help that they need, or ask the student to get help that they need? And I think that's part of also why the in-person opportunities matter for some students, is that they feel like they actually are not getting that help virtually and need that in person. So, but I do think we have to work as a district, as we think about our wholeness work and our mental health supports, is how we actually are building relationship to do that. And I hear you loud and clear. So again, we're taking all this down. If it's something that I don't have a perfect answer for everything, it's about me being able to elevate all of these thoughts to our senior leadership so they understand that students are crying out for more support for mental health and grace as students are trying to navigate a pandemic and also be excellent students at the same time. We got to figure out how we work in grace and space for students. And I was just talking to Dr. Henley about this yesterday, that, if a student is experiencing difficulty with a grade, what space are we giving them to allow them to improve their grade? What opportunities are we giving them to allow them to improve in their that course or whatever? Or are we just being like, this is it, you turned it in, etc.? So that's something I literally began exploring with her yesterday, and I know that the academics team has been talking about it, and I will definitely take that back.
Okay. Also, I have another question, and this question is from Gemma. She said, "Could it possibly, is it possible for students to take a day off for just a mental break?"
I mean, I don't know the policy, right? I believe if you don't, so I actually let me not try to answer that, because I don't want to mistakenly say something I don't know. We can get back on what the attendance policy is and what the district is requiring students to do. But I have even heard some folks say to us, when we have days like today, we had a snow day, you would have normally had a day off. Right, and mental break day, and we've been trying to keep the days consistent because the adds on days at the end of the school year. But that's something I can take back to, and I will look at the attendance policy and get back to you. Thank you.
I would like to go. I only got like one question at this moment because I'm gonna have to leave within 2 minutes. But I just wanted to say, um, according to um the Arbery's comment when she was saying like how can we ensure that the students are getting help and are using the office hours effectively if the teachers take hours to get to one student. That happened to me a lot because and plus teachers would come up with excuses and they always trying to like define like they always trying to debate where oh like oh this like it's crazy because like it's especially the teacher's communication is way off. Like they can respond to the student, but they can't respond to me. And I especially what Mark Quinn said when say example, if I tell them oh my power is out, I have a power outage, they'll say okay, they still give me an assignment at the end of the day. So like I just want to know do you think the it will can the teacher communication improve because there was it's like they could find every way to make an excuse of not trying to actually communicate because that happened to me a lot and all I just want is an answer. Ain't nothing much to ask.
And can I just clarify, were you saying you had difficulty with accessing teachers during the office hours that they're supposed to have posted and available to students? Is that part of the concern? And then in addition, you talked about just being able to communicate back and forth with each other, but is that a concern as well, specifically?
Yeah, it's kind of kids because and it's crazy because teachers would actually tell that office hours at the last minute, but they wouldn't never tell us at the beginning. Because, like I said, they were always trying to find a way just not to talk to us.
Okay, that's something we can definitely address because Rashad, I know you're taking notes. We need to make sure that schools have consistent and regular office hours for our students to be able to go back and get questions answered and get support with their work, et cetera. But I think in general, Rashad's work, our work of our office is to help teachers improve the quality of communication. But if you want to also share in the chat your school, we can take that down and make sure we flag that for the principal, that we have students who are concerned about the lack of communication between teachers and students to make sure that they are getting what they need to really do their work effectively and answer their questions so they can actually complete their assignments. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rashad, you see that in the chat? Got it. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hello, Ms. Tina. My name is Jada Johnson, and I'm no longer in Baltimore City Public Schools. But when COVID had hit, I was a senior in high school, and I had like a lot of high school trials and tribulations. So I wasn't able to like enjoy my junior year, or really any much of my senior year actually as well, because I had fallen behind. Like Mars said, like taking losses in family, like my grandmother passed away and stuff. So I just want to know, like, how will you be helping out seniors who aren't dumb, who are having at-home problems where they are falling behind and they need help, like, so they won't like be left behind? Because I end up having to transfer from my original school to an alternative school just to get full credits to be able to graduate, and still didn't have a graduation.
So first of all, none of our students are dumb. So I just want to put that out there, right? We all have gifted, beautiful students. I want to put that out there first. Second of all, I think that's part of the reason why we made sure to offer the 12th graders the opportunity to come back at least for the last quarter, because we need to think about how we're supporting them and again, graduation plans and that kind of thing. But it really is a challenge to support all of our students in a virtual environment. And so having space where we can offer our 12th graders a different path out of high school, so we know what they're doing. We have a plan for each one of them and support them in their plans. We have a plan, support them in their plans for each other, is really a critical piece of our reopening effort to give the students that support. But I think it's not just acknowledging, frankly, the loss of what our students, like you had last year as a 12th grader, having no graduation, no prom, none of those milestone moments that you were supposed to have. And now this year, our students aren't having those milestone moments either. Whatever they may be for them, whatever's important to them is problematic. And so we have to recognize that and recognize what toll that's taking on both their academic success and their mental well-being. And so we are trying to address that. And if there's suggestions that you have of what we could do to layer in supports for our graduating seniors to make sure they have what they need, please send that over to us. And I'll be happy to share that with our college of readiness folks and make sure they're sharing that out with the rest of the schools.
Okay, that brings us to my second question. I know a lot of people are seniors now. I remember Cam was telling me that she wasn't able to take SATs. So how will y'all be like helping? Because I know that when COVID hit for us, we wasn't able to. We took SATs, but we wasn't able to like retake them if we failed and stuff, or we didn't do as good as we wanted, and they kind of like wavered it. So will y'all be offering the same options for other seniors who aren't able to take SATs, or like will y'all be helping, or will other colleges or the colleges be helping Baltimore City schools or any high school in general get more students into their schools, because COVID impacted everybody and it was out of our control?
So what I do know is I actually have a niece who's a senior this year as well. She goes to Baltimore County, but is applying for colleges just like you all are. They're not, most colleges are not requiring any entrance tests to get in because there wasn't availability for them to be taken, right? I mean, I know there were very few sittings of the SAT, but what I understand from especially our local colleges, universities, they're not requiring the SAT. They're looking at grades, and that there's a whole other impact because I know the pandemic has had an impact on grades as well. But I do know that is true, and I can make sure we talk to our college of readiness office at what guidance they are giving our school counselors and guidance folks to support students as they are trying to navigate this college space and enrolling in applying to colleges. So we can go back to them and talk to them and get back to you.
Okay, this is not really a question. I just want to know, like, when you got a chance, could you put your email in the chat so that I do have some ideas, like, to help seniors get back on their feet.
Please. Corinne, you can go ahead and put it in the chat for me if you don't mind, because if I type and talk at the same time, I won't miss somebody's question or not focus on them. If you don't mind putting my email in the chat, that's fine.
Yep.
And put Rashad's in there too.
Yeah, and Jade as well, drop your or someone as well, drop your email in it. I think I do have it, but I want to make sure that we have one. It's a work group that's coming up across the district, and we're going to need recent alum and active high school seniors to help us with some of the plannings to actually resolve some of those missed opportunities. So
yep. And Rashad, I appreciate you saying that. I forgot to say that earlier. We are right now redoing our family and community engagement policy, right? And what's unique about us doing that right now is that we put youth all over that policy. It wasn't in there before. It's that we're engaging parents, it's that we're engaging community partners, it's that we're engaging, different agencies. It didn't say anything about how we engage youth. And so Rashad and Corinne on our team have been working really hard to make sure that policy is reflective of how we want to engage and honor youth, specifically calling out some things that you all have talked about tonight around relationship building, around partnerships and being transparent and supportive of youth, and also elevating youth voice in decision-making at schools. And so the policy is going to come out for first reader, I think next week, but it'll be on our website. And I actually encourage all of you to look at it and you tell us if you think it is reflective. Now, policy is the 50,000 foot level. It's not going to give you the in nuanced implementation, but at a granular visionary level, does it get to what you all are talking about intentionality of improving relationship and listening to our young people in the direction of their own education? And then what we'll do after the policy is done is create an implementation plan where we're going to then map out how we make those things happen that we've actually elevated as goals in our policy. So just a side note, I'd love you all to take a look at it. Maybe Jonah, you could share it with the folks. We have a little survey, folks can give us feedback on it.
Hello everyone, my name is Dante Matthews. I am a 9th grader that attends Vivian T. Thomas Nautical Arts Academy. I had a question, well, I had multiple questions. It was questions in the chat as well, and I wanted to basically touch base on them. Since I'm a 9th grader, it's obligated that you have to take 9 classes. Well, not 9 classes, 6 classes, I'm sorry. But since you have to take your 6, those 6 classes, and how can we reduce the stress while we're working online and things like that?
You broke up for me, Dante. I don't know if it was just my phone, my thing. Can you repeat your question for me, please? I'm sorry.
How can we reduce the stress while we're learning online?
I think that that is a great question. We've been doing our Wellness Wednesdays and we've been sending it out to families, but I don't know, Rashad, if we've been sending that out to the young people and a way to, we've been doing some meditation support and some SEL supports, but I don't. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I don't know if we have been sending that information out to our young folks. So our wholeness team had been put together, you know, strategies for coping with stress and trauma and managing it. And I think we need to do a better job of making sure we're sharing that information out with the young people of the district. So that's a great takeaway to go back to our wholeness team and say, how can we share those meditations, those moments, those ways to break away from the stress and manage it? We need to make sure we do that with our young folks too. Thank you.
And that kind of like branches to my second question. Like, and this is by Gemma Chester from the in the chat. She said, how are their checkups and support for students who may be experiencing abuse at home? So
yeah, that is a reality. And I know that we have done some wellness checks across the district, right? Where we think that there's a reason to do it. We have done it without getting into particular details. We have our community schools coordinators. We actually have partners that we've hired, the contracting that have gone out to do wellness checks on our students. And so we are doing that. But to be honest with you, it's very different when you don't have eyes on people directly. And we are giving, you know, sort of things to watch for in a virtual setting that might be signs for a student having difficulty at home. But it's very much more difficult when you're not in person. And so, you know, if students have concerns, I would hope that they would feel comfortable at somebody at their school, some person to flag that for them. But the district is still doing wellness checks at home, still doing follow-ups. We have 130 community schools coordinators across the district who are checking on families, checking on students, along with other folks. So we will continue to do that. But I would hope that if a young person is experiencing that level of trauma or stress, that they have somebody at their school community that they can rely on to talk to. And if not, you could email Rashad and I, frankly, and we can work through that and try to figure out a way to get the right support, elevate that to the school and our wellness check folks to find the support that you need.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
Hello.
How are you? All right, so I'm here. I don't have a question. Okay, so I'm here. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. My name is Michael McCormick. My students call me Mr. Mike. I'm a teacher in Baltimore City Public Schools. So I jumped on, I text Joni to send me the link because I was listening to a lot of students speak about basically the relationship, one with teachers, the disconnect when it comes to grades and their struggles. And one of the things I said in the YouTube chat was about being an advocate for yourself in a way for all the students, right? So everyone has been experiencing a different dynamic when it comes to this virtual setting, right? It's kind of unorthodox and it's something we have never done before. So like students, teachers are also adjusting, right? So one of the things that I wanted to say that's very important is for students to make sure that you hold your teachers accountable. We still have to provide you a service, right? Every day you come to school, we have an obligation. We have an obligation to support you. We have an obligation to teach you. And we have to be held accountable to that standard. You are not logging on to get subpar teaching, right? We get paid literally every 2 weeks to provide you guys a service. And like I tell my students, you guys are my boss in a way. I have people I answer to, but I work for my students.
Yep.
There are a lot of teachers who may use this time to bombard you with work, to not operate in grace. But everyone has someone to answer to. You guys have a lot of supports, whether it's with your assistant principals, whether it's with your principals, whether it's with your parents. You have a lot of support where you can hold your teachers accountable. Now, a lot of teachers aren't leading with grace. Let's just be honest. The same way a lot of students aren't giving maximum effort. Still, there is no reason why you should be given a half. Let me back up. There is no reason, right, where even in the pandemic, where even if it is virtual, you're still in a classroom. And I want everyone to understand that you're still in the classroom. And a lot of relationship breakdowns just come with an overall lower expectation for what's expected. And I don't believe that should be. So I know if I polled 50 students right now and I asked, how many of you actually are in class with your cameras on? I might get 20% that say they're actually wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, cameras on, ready to rock and roll. And I say that to say, a lot of times, and I tell my students, because I'm a high school teacher, I teach 9th grade. So sometimes when I have my students, I'm pulling teeth. Joni, I'm pulling teeth for cameras to be on. And that's a class expectation from me. And then I ask, well, how many of your other teachers are requiring you to have your camera on or asking for you to have your camera on? None. You're the only one. And I ask, and this is something that I ask, I say, okay, how easy do you think it'll be for me to give a grade, a failing grade, to just a name on the screen? So if all I see is just a name, if I just see Jordan Blanding and I don't know who Jordan is, and mind you, I have 9th grade. So I didn't have them last year. They're brand new to the school. So if all I see is Jordan Blanding, name on the screen, I don't even know how Jordan looks, right? It's so easy for someone to just put a grade in because there's no connection. There's no connection at all. So it's really it's a joint effort. And I say that in a holistic approach. There's really a joint effort from both ends when it comes to holding one another accountable, because the same way I'm telling you hold your teachers accountable, teachers also got to hold their students accountable. And that's not with a bombardment of work. That's not with not leading with grace. But I want you guys to understand, and it's very, very important, that mediocrity should not be tolerated on any level. Your teachers should not be tolerating mediocrity from you guys, nor should you be tolerating mediocrity from any of your teachers. And I genuinely say that, and I say that with a huge heart, because I see a lot of students are failing off. A lot of students aren't coming to school. But the number one thing, and I bring this up in my staff meetings all the time, teachers, let me tell you, teachers in my school look at me with a side eye all the time, because I let them know I'm here for students. I'm not here for teachers. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we get better results from everybody when there are relationships established. So if you have that one teacher that's being a pain in the butt, that's not trying to bend, break, or fold, that's trying to stand firm, listen, send messages.
You want 30 more seconds, Mr. Mike,
just so
we can get more voices, man.
I'm sorry, and I'm going to log right off, and I'm going to go back on YouTube. Listen, send emails, send messages, tell your parents. Please have an advocate for you and advocate for yourself. The second thing, as a lot of things was talking about with the emotional aspect, how there are a lot of emotional breakdowns. So social emotional learning is something that Baltimore City Public Schools have been pushing very hard over the past two to 3 years. Social emotional learning. And some of you, I know my guy went to Edmondson. There is a social emotional learning coordinator that is at your school. And if your school does not have it, there are a lot of supports that are available to you guys. But again, you got to advocate for yourself. You got to speak. Don't expect people just to know what's going on if you don't use your voice. So moral to all of these things, use your voice, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Let people know how you feel and hold everybody accountable. Joni, that's it. That's all I have. Thank you,
Mr. Mike. We're about to get these heartbeats back. They FaceTime.
Yeah, go ahead, y'all. Go ahead. Let her rip. Let her rip. I'm gone. Let her rip.
I loved it though, the advocate, and I just want to add, if you advocate with your teacher and you don't get what you want, you go to the next level, right? You go to your principal, you go to your wholeness specialist, you go to the district office if you have to, because you system is so clear. We don't have jobs if we don't have students. We work for you. Like at the end of the day, We are a district. Our main job is to make sure you all get a quality education. And if we don't do that, then we shouldn't have jobs.
I think it's my turn to go next. My name is Jordan Blanding. I'm a senior at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. Just to speak on the whole virtual learning thing, it's definitely difficult for seniors because this is the year where we need our college advisors. We need to be talking to our teachers to get those recommendation letters out and get our transcripts sent. Like doing all of this online, trying to manage a college career or starting a college career, trying to get work experience, trying to get service learning hours, trying to finish up your work so that for those schools that are asking for your first and second quarter, have good grades to base your semester grades off of, it's a lot. And a lot of times to not be able to go up to your advisor in person and say, these are the schools that need my transcripts. These are the places that I need recommendations letters for. Go up to that teacher in person and say, I need a recommendation letter by this date. Do you think you'll have it done by then? If not, okay, I can go to another teacher. It's a lot more difficult to do over emails because teachers don't respond to emails sometimes, especially if you're one of the school systems who's using Google Classroom. They won't respond to private comments on Google Classroom within 24 hours. They won't respond to emails within 24 hours sometimes. So it's like, I'm trying to reach out and I'm getting a response back within 2 to 3 business days, but you want your work in within that 8 hours that we have to complete it. And if it's late, then it's a 0 or it's a 50% off. So it's just like the same courtesy that teachers and administrators and advisors want to be held when it comes to turning in work, coming to class, submitting tests. It should be held when it comes to, especially seniors, because literally this is it. We don't get to come back for another year and make up for the stuff that we got to miss. This is it for us. So once we leave, it's just like, okay, are y'all really setting us off on the right foot to be able to go into one, college possibly virtually, and 2, college in general, because most likely next year we're still going to be doing hybrid or virtual learning. So if we're trying to master it now, I feel like seniors should be getting a little bit more help and a little bit more attention. Not saying that any other grade level should be neglected, but we're really about to be
transitioning,
adults, set off right into college, right into the world. So it's just like, if we don't get that foundation right now, when it's really our time, we're really on our own and we don't have those advisors to come to, we don't have those teachers to talk to as much, we're going to look lost, because if the school system didn't prepare us, this is the time where we get that education for free before we have to pay for it for another 4 years. So I'd rather have it now instead of paying and taking out loans for a couple $100,000 and still not understand how to reach out to my teachers or advocate for myself. And some of that has to be taught at home or just within yourself or through mentors or outside sources. We can't rely on the school system for everything because the school system doesn't teach us everything, point blank. So that's one thing I wanted to touch on. Another question that I had, I don't know if you can really control this or anything, but for graduations, I feel like if we're able to do hybrid learning for freshmen and seniors should be able to have some type of social distance graduation.
Yep, I appreciate that.
Yeah, a lot of schools have been saying, oh, it's probably not going to be possible or it might not be able to be done. But I feel like if you can enforce and push so hard for hybrid learning when we still don't know how it's going to react, like if there's going to be an increase in numbers or a decrease in numbers, or it's going to be a huge spike and new strains will come out, people are still pushing for it. But it's like when we ask for, it's not like we're asking for prom and homecoming and small events that still mean something, but graduation is really like that last
rite of passage.
Yeah, everybody really cares about their graduation. Like, yes, I would love to have a prom, but I'd really rather be able to have my mother and my family see me walk across the stage, even if it's virtual, because I feel like there are ways to do it. Even if it's a social distance thing, like Poly's football field is huge. They let us have Poly City at M&T Bank Stadium. They let us have Poly City at Morgan State. So it's not like we don't have the spaces where we could say, okay, you can only bring 2 guests. You have to social distance. You have to wear a mask, but you can still get your name called and walk across the stage. So there are options. And I feel like people are really limiting it and focusing on the things that they want to focus on. Like hybrid learning is the focus right now. So that's all that's going to be pushed for. And when people are saying, well, what about this, and this? It's like, okay, we'll put that on the back burner. Once we get hybrid learning figured out, that's when we can focus on that. And by the time we get that focus, like seniors are only going back till the fourth quarter. So it's like, even if we did want to try to talk to our teachers right now in person to get those last minute recommendation letters and get those last few things tied up for college, we won't have the chance, because by the time we go back to school, decision day and deposits are due May 1st. It's no point in going back for us. Mm-hmm. Our classes are about to end. It's no point in going back for us unless you are really, really, really struggling in those last couple classes, because April, May, we're going on May 21st. It's basically a month that we are going in, and I really don't feel like we would gain anything from that. Now, I'm sure it'll be appreciated for some students, but for the students who are just really trying to go back to get that interaction with the teachers and your advisors so that we can close up things for college, it's just like, I have a month to try to scramble to get everything done before I have to make a decision on something that'll probably affect my career and my life. And we don't get to really go back early. So I just feel like the focus towards not even just seniors, but all students, because eventually those juniors are about to be seniors. And if it's not fixed by then, they about to be sitting here possibly on another Zoom call just like this, saying the same exact things we're saying. And those freshmen will be sophomores, and those sophomores will be juniors. So it's like, if we don't fix it now, that cycle is just going to continue, and the same things are going to keep repeating itself. Just like with the mental health comments, I saw a lot of questions about mental health help for students. And a lot of times, you know, the surveys will be sent out. We'll have somebody come in class to talk to us about depression or anxiety, or how to handle test taking anxiety, or how to handle stress from school. And it doesn't really do much. Not to say that it's all, we should really depend on the school for that, because again, a lot of that you have to depend on yourself for, because it's not required. It's definitely not required, but it would help, because if you're talking to a student who has high anxiety, who has test taking anxiety, even though you're at home, it might not be any easier. So actually showing some type of change from the surveys, because if you break a plate and you say sorry to the plate, it's not getting fixed. But if you pick the plate up and try to put those pieces back together, then it's going to get fixed. So if you send out the survey and you just complete it and nothing happens after that survey, it's like, well, what did I fill out the survey for? I'm still sitting here having a panic attack every time we got to turn our cameras on for a test, and you making me talk in front of a class of people who don't even have their cameras on with me. So I feel like some type of interaction has to be there, and it shouldn't be forced. Like, I feel like my classes, those mental health surveys are for a grade. So half the time people are completing them to get those extra 10 points to boost their participation grade. And they're only sending it out because Baltimore City probably said, okay, you need to do a mental health check-in with your students. It's different when they're coming to you because they can see that you're struggling. When those teachers who know your GPA, who know your work ethic, who know who you are as a student, come to you and say, I see that you've been struggling with virtual learning. Is there something I can do to help? Not a learning survey that's saying, okay, well, what do you feel like your teacher can do to help you? Knowing good and well that teacher really may not read that survey and actually take it into account. So the interaction is not just on teachers, it's also on students, because you have to feel comfortable speaking to your teachers, and it's also up to the teachers to create a space where your students feel comfortable coming to you about this. Because if the student doesn't feel like they have a platform to say, hi, Miss So-and-so, lately I've been feeling like da-da-da-da-da, and I feel like these are the things that you could do to help me and other students, then it's never going to come up, and everybody's going to think everything is fine, because if it never comes up, then it's never brought to anybody's attention.
Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure the team got all those fantastic notes down, because Jordan, you said a whole lot of important things, and I don't need to respond to every single one of them, but we need to make sure we write all that down, because it was really powerful. A couple comments I will say. One, I'm going to go back and make sure that we're thinking about what graduation looks like, because you all deserve it. You've earned it, and it should happen. And so we did do the virtual graduations last year, and we were in the beginning of the pandemic, right? So we didn't know whatever. I think if we are doing, I can't promise this. I'm saying from Tina's standpoint, from where I sit, that if we can do in-person learning, then we should be able to figure out a way to at least do some sort of graduation ceremony, right? Outdoors, mask, distance, even if we're filming them and streaming them live, so families across the country could see it. Because if grandma or uncle or somebody can't come visit, they should be able to stream it and figure that
I was
out.
about to say,
We stream town halls all the time. We should be able to figure this out, right? So,
Chief,
yeah.
Those conversations are actually in the process right now, being
Thank you,
led by
Rashad.
and Jordan, drop your email in the chat. This work group has not been activated just yet, but it's in the process of high priority. And student voice and what you shared has already been shared by those that has been identified to lead this work group. So I think your vision is already complementary to conversations that are already happening. So you're manifesting resolutions in real time.
And you're gonna throw her in a work group, right, Rashad?
Yeah.
Jordan gonna join the work group.
And the other young people that dropped.
Be careful what you say out loud, Jordan. I've been voluntold you to help out with the work group. I love it.
Hey, that's fine with me.
Yeah, and it was so many things that you said that they already started mentioning, but we'll talk about that. And once you be in that meeting, you'll see it. So.
Thank you.
And I just, that work group was also working, Rashad, on Jordan outlined sort of what is our plan as a district that we're communicating to our high schools for our 12th graders, right? What are we expecting that every high school should be supporting, doing, providing in the transition phase for our 12th graders? I think is something we need to communicate out to our schools, especially having young folks influence what they're needing and what they're not getting right now, and how we can do that. If that group can work on that, or if we need to take that back to College of Readiness or the counseling team to make sure we're outlining that for schools so they are responsive to what students are reflecting here around mental health, but really that transition moment for our 12th graders, that getting their transcripts or learning recommendations or all that kind of stuff. There should be guidance provided and expectations created for our schools to honor that.
Agree. I will purposely make the connection.
Thank you. That was all I really had. So
that's all. That was fantastic. It was a lot, but it was good. Yes.
Hello everybody. My name is Charles Leek. I'm a sophomore at Mergenthaler Vocational Technical High School, Mervo, and I was wondering if there was like any in-person plans for 10th graders, because I know personally, like I went from like a 3.0 to other grades. You know, everybody don't need to know, but is there like any type of plan? I don't have a lot. I just got like just one question, but is there like any plan for 10th graders?
So not right now, unfortunately, just because high schools are our biggest buildings. And so we don't have this, we have to figure out how many people are coming back. I'm not saying we won't do it, right? But there isn't a plan right now to do it because we had to figure out space allocation and make sure we have social distance and that kind of thing. So unfortunately, no, but it doesn't mean that there won't be something to report out later as we do the reopening gradually now, because that's what they've sort of put out in the public is stay tuned for middle school and 10th and 11th grade is stay tuned. And hopefully if we're able to, we might be able to open it up, but it isn't a direct plan for it right now. Unfortunately, Charles, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Christina, you good?
I'm good.
You good for like another half hour to like 8? Can we go to 8? Get some of these questions out the chat for you.
As long as my children let me stay on. My daughter's bedtime is 8 o'clock, so I can stay on until 8. Yes.
That so, Ma and Jordan are going to ask some of these questions out the chat. Like your chat is blowed all the way up. It's so amazing. Like, yeah.
Rashad, you want to ask something?
No, I was going to say it as well. So, Johnny, you want them to ask them, or you wanted me to ask the question that was notated as well?
Yeah, if we could let them pick out some, because people have been texting them too. Like, can you ask my question?
Oh, yeah,
can you
I
ask
see
my
the
question?
chat lit. You got it.
Yeah, the chat real lit. So the ones that we don't get to, we can just kind of do like a Q&A and maybe send it out later. But if they could facilitate asking these chat questions, I think that'll be great. If you guys are okay with that.
You got it. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I can go first. So This question is from Jada. She said, "Do you believe it's a good idea for schools to open during the pandemic with the new variant of COVID-19?"
So what we've learned from the CDC, we actually have a health advisory panel that is made up of doctors, of public health folks, of the health department folks, and we are going on their guidance because I'm not a medical expert, right? I can tell you what I think, but I'm telling you what we're using to make our judgment calls is we use the information from our health advisory committee, the CDC recommendations that they believe based on all the mitigation factors that we have put in place, the masks, the temperature checks and all that, that it is safe to return in person if we keep folks distant, if they wear their masks, and if we keep groups small and we don't mix pods of students too much where we're spreading around the, so yes, from our standpoint, from our medical experts and our health advisors, that they do believe it is safe to open in person right now.
Jordan, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Okay. The second question that I have was, this is from the chat from DR Bray. Could you tell us about the safety precautions you'll be taking to ensure no one gets sick once schools open back up?
Yep. So I'll walk through them again. We have our 5 key mitigation strategies that we're using, along with other pieces of the strategy for PPE to make sure kids and students and teachers are faculty staying safe. My daughter's laughing in the background, if you can hear her. She's watching an iPad next to me. Sorry about that. Oh, Corinne's pulling them back up. Thank you, Corinne, for pulling them back up. I appreciate it. So I have to recall from memory. So the first one is, I know, is consistent and safe use of wearing masks, right? It is important that in our school buildings that everyone has a mask on while they're in the building. Secondly, when students are coming into the buildings, we are doing health screens every day, temperature checks, the questions we have to ask about being exposed to anybody who has COVID, having a temperature, feeling certain, symptomatic things. We actually ask those questions every day. Social distancing, making sure that we don't have too many people in one space in any given classroom, and even the flow of traffic in our buildings, right? Which way you go in, which way you go out, how you walk down the hallways, is all going to be planned out when you come to school. So that's part of the social distancing, is making sure we have that space in our classrooms and our hallways. And even not even eating in cafeterias, right? But eating in classrooms with desk shields around the desks so that there is space for students to eat in a safe way. Hand hygiene and hand sanitizer being provided, soap and water, paper towels, hand sanitizer anytime. Students need it on a regular basis so that their hands are clean. That's one of the key factors about keeping the germs at bay. Cleaning and disinfecting. Like I mentioned, that we're having the district office is actually providing centrally funded and provided materials for all schools that are in person to have cleaning and disinfecting materials that meet CDC guidelines to clean the schools every day. And then last but not least is our contact tracing. And that's to make sure that if someone does have COVID symptoms, that we give them a COVID test, or we ask them to quarantine. If it is a student who is found to have, or teacher who is found, or staff member in the building that's with students, is found to have COVID, it is contact tracing, make sure we know everybody who's been around that person, and then isolation of that small pod. So for 14 days, students who have to quarantine with that pod to be separated so that no one has the spread of COVID. When we have done this through our student learning centers, through our work over the fall with our 38 sites that are being open, we have not had a single transmission of COVID in our schools. COVID has been come in. We can't stop that. Students have had COVID, or teachers might have COVID, but we haven't spread it because we've been practicing very diligently these etiquette protocols to make sure that we don't spread COVID in schools. Thanks, Corinne, for putting the slide back up.
Lene or Mara, y'all want to go next? Or you want me to read one?
I can go. I have one of Gemma questions. Hold on. She asked, is in-person learning truly beneficial if it lacked the same interactions before COVID and students are still confined and staring at their screens?
So it's a great question. I think some of our there's different reasons why different students need to come back in person, or want to come back in person, not need, but they want personally, right? And so it's fulfilling different things for different people. it is true that when students come back, they will have some in-person lessons, but they will also probably have some virtual lessons, right? Given that you're in high school and you have a course load that requires you to go to different courses throughout the day. So there is going to be a mix of students being in person and being in front of a computer, frankly, as well. But the hope is that if you're in person, I heard the student ask earlier, you can ask your questions in real time and get answers in real time instead of waiting on Google Classroom 2 or 3 days later. I think Jordan, you said that too, to get answers back from your teachers or folks. But if you're actually in person and you're right there, you're getting things responded to you in real time. That's one of the major benefits, I think, of being able to be in person, is getting that exchange directly with your classroom teachers or your homeroom teachers and that kind of thing. And sure, there is going to be situations where you do have virtual learning still taking place, because some of our resource teachers can't be, they see, like a PE teacher might see almost every kid in a building, right? To be honest with you, that's not safe. That's not part of the pod structure. That's not part of keeping kids socially distant by having all kids sort of rotating into the same teacher. That being said, we do think there are some students. I heard principal at Renaissance the other day at a city council hearing just literally talk about how she has students that were homeless that she was trying to find an Airbnb for that night so they could have a place to go. They don't have a place to be during the day for virtual learning. They are moving from place to place. They have an unstable environment that they cannot sit and focus on learning. And so giving that student a space to come in person and actually connect to a building, a space to sit down and focus, is part of our responsibility, frankly. So I know it's imperfect, but none of this is perfect. We're trying to do the best we think we can for our students and give opportunities for our students. But I do appreciate the acknowledgement that it's going to be a struggle trying to figure out how you do sort of in-person learning while you still have some virtual classes going on at the same time.
Thank you. This question is from Samaje, and I don't know how to say her name, so I'm gonna say San, Sane. So their question was, I just saw. Okay. If we are successful in our return to school, will we get our prom back, and will juniors get a prom too?
Yeah, so I don't have the answer for that. I would highly doubt that we'd be able to do prom the way it's been done before, for sure, because of the number of people in a closed space, right? But Rashad, let's take that back to our College of Readiness folks and see what they're advising, what the research is telling them about whether or not there is some kind of way to do something for students that, and I have no idea at this point, but I know it probably can't be done the same way it's been done before. But does that mean we can't have, prom is promenade, right? Could we have students dress up in their finest and do a promenade with their, who knows what we could think about creatively that would still give them that sort of moment in time where you have that first time you really got dressed up or whatever. Like, if there's something that we could think about doing, let's be creative about it and try to do it. So I appreciate Rashad taking that note down. Let's think about it.
Okay. Let me look for the next question. So Tanaya, I think. I hope I'm not pronouncing your name wrong. I'm sorry if I am. Would students get breaks during the day from wearing the mask? Like, would there be any way for them to get breaks?
Yep, I think there's going to have to be outdoor time because you can't really take off your masks inside the building. And so I don't know for sure, but I have heard conversations about offering students the ability to go outside in fresh air and take off their masks so they have a break from wearing them. I know that little people, because they have recess and that kind of thing, that's easy, but for our high school students, I'm not sure. But I do know that there has been talk about how we provide those breaks, or even frankly move class outside, right? And then if you're at class outside and you're socially distanced, then maybe you actually can have your mask off because you're outside in an open space. So yes, but we'll take that back for our high school age, middle school age students and make sure we understand what breaks they will have for mask wearing as well.
I have one that is really, really good. When this is asked by Samaje, she said, when we do return to school, will students be able to make up the work they struggle with virtually? Will we be able to open up the previous quarters? That's really important. That really is, and especially for those ninth graders that are failing.
Yeah, I don't have the right answer for that just yet, but I did talk about this with Dr. Santelises just yesterday about how we are providing a space for students to make up work. So we will take that back and get back to you with an answer. And I wish I did have the answers for you right now, but I think elevating the concerns are what are important here so that the senior leadership of the district really hears what your concerns are and they begin to think about addressing them in a way that is respectful and gives grace to students. So we'll take that back. Absolutely. Thank you for elevating that.
Okay, these two questions are from Gemma. She said, what about students who want to go back but can't because of their parents? And are there checkups and support for students who may be experiencing abuse at home?
So unfortunately, it is a parent's decision, right, about whether or not a student comes back unless they're an independent student. But I think that's an interesting question. I hadn't even thought about that yet. I don't even have a great answer for you other than I know that it is a parent's decision to make about being in person. And I wonder if we can provide the parent more information that would help them, feel more comfortable in making that decision to do return to in-person learning. So if a student, I've been doing these shows all over town, and I told Cabinet yesterday, I'm gonna need y'all to start coming out here in these streets with me and help me do these conversations with folks and get this information out to people so everybody has it, right? So if we need to do we're doing town halls, we're doing open houses at lots of our schools, we're doing them by CLN, et cetera. Maybe we can encourage the parent to come and get more information so that they can make a decision that maybe the student can, with the urging of that the student doing it by his or herself or themselves, but to rather have district at least share the information that's factual so hopefully they can make a decision and listen to the students' concerns. In terms of the checks, we talked about that earlier, just making sure that our wellness checks are happening with students if we need them. And that I really encourage students, if they do feel like they are in harm or they are concerned, that they elevate that to someone at their school community, so that we can, as a district, make sure we do a wellness check on that student as well. But we did give teachers guidance to look for if students are struggling and that kind of thing, so we can flag that for our wellness team to do wellness checks on students.
Okay. This is from Dante. He said, if your kids attend Baltimore City schools, will you decide to send them back?
They do, both of them. My first one, who was making the noise in the background, is in pre-K, and unfortunately she can't go back, and she's mad about it. She really wants to go back because just like the 9th graders or the 6th graders, this is her first time with city school. She was so excited to go to her big brother's school and be there with him, and then not to be able to go back is like, she's like, and mental health is like, she's telling me, I don't have a best friend. I don't have any friends because it's all virtual and they're trying to talk to each other, and they're trying, and the school is doing, I'm gonna tell you, they're doing a great job. I listen in sometimes on their lessons as best as I can when I'm working, and they're doing a great job of trying to build community, but it's hard to build community when you're on a screen, even though their screens are on and they're 4 and 5 years old. She's looking at me now like, why are you talking about me? But my son is going back. He is in 5th grade and he is going back. He said to me, to your point, Mar, earlier, I thought it was optional. I said, it is optional, but not for you, sir. Mommy and daddy have made a decision that you are going back, because I do believe he needs to get up and move. He needs to be in community. And, I think the isolation, the social isolation is hard for kids. And so that's being really honest and transparent. I want him to go back because his grades are okay. They're fine. Because I'm, checking Infinite Campus every day, making sure his grade, he did his assignments and did them right. And I make him go back and do them again and that kind of thing. So he's fine with grades, but he needs the interaction with other students. He needs to be around young people and get out of my face and stop having me pressure him all the time, and be around some people his own age. And so that's why he is going back, is because I want him to be in interaction with other young people. It's a great question, though. We had a parent focus group last night, and all parents said, all the staff that were on the call, they're like, so your kid's going back? And every single one of us were like, actually, yes, except one person who's actually pregnant. And she was like, but my child is with me every day when I go into all of our learning centers in our schools, and he's there every day, even though he's not born yet.
Okay. I have a question, and it was by Duabry Lewis. She asked, how do we ensure that all children are getting lunch if they have to bring their own lunch from home? How will that affect, food and transportation and all of that?
Yep. So students do not have to bring their own lunch. We've been providing meals. Of course, in the summer it was our 18 meal sites around the city, right? And then in the fall, we opened up 80 meal sites around the city. So not every, but every single school who is going to be in person will be providing food for our students. So no one has to bring lunch. It'll be provided for them. It'll probably be eaten in the classroom and not in the central, you know, you're used to going to the cafeteria and hanging out. That probably won't be possible because there's too many folks in one place, but students will be able to be provided food. And then I'm sorry, what was the other question you asked me? Oh, transportation. So we've been working with MTA. MTA has a plan. I know some of our students have to ride the MTA to get to in-person learning, and that's a reality. And that's part of the decision you have to make as a student and as your family, but whether or not you feel comfortable riding MTA to come to school, right? That's a reality. But MTA has promised additional routes and additional buses so that there are more frequent buses coming through so that you're not as crowded when students are going back to in person. And then we are providing yellow bus transportation for specific students who had them pre-pandemic. Some of our schools that are in swing space are providing corner-to-corner transportation with a yellow bus service, as well as our students who are special needs or who are homeless who require transportation. We are providing that, and we are putting very similar mitigation strategies to what we're doing at schools on our buses as well, with temperature checks and that kind of thing and distancing. You know, for example, on bus seats, students can't sit together unless they're siblings. Unless you're coming from a home together, you cannot sit with your friends next to them on the bus because you have to keep social distancing on the bus. It's just one small example. But we are providing transportation to students if we provided them before through the pandemic or if they're in swing space in schools.
Thank you. All right, so this question is from Cam. Where is this one? Oh, here it is. All right. Do you think we'll be in school for the entire period of time for the remainder of the year, and why?
Say it again, Mark. Couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Do you think we'll be in school for the entire period of time for the remainder of the year, and why?
Yeah, so we're hoping that you know, we don't have a metric we're using by which we think we should be open or closed. Let's be honest about that. Like, it's not like if the positivity rate is below 5 or above this, we're not going by that. We're going by our guidance of our health commissioner and our health advisory and the CDC and that kind of thing about what is safe. So right now we estimate the schools should be open for the rest of the year, but I can't predict that. I can't guarantee that, right? Because if there are things that happen where our health advisory says, nope, you got to close back down, this is not working, we will do it, right? I don't want to. I want to keep the option open for students, but if our health advisory tells us at this point in time, you need to close back down, we will close back down. And be real clear about that. But at this time, the plan is to stay open for the rest of the school year and honestly provide some in-person learning for summer school, right? And also think about what fall looks like. We're hoping we can offer so many more students the opportunity to come back in the fall than we are even doing right now.
What's the time period, if you can predict the time period for when people go back to in-person school? What's the time period for, like, you know, them in school?
Do you mean like during the day or like from month to like date to date?
I'll say day, like throughout the day.
So I know that schools set their own schedules, and then we have to go up by our bus schedules to make sure that the buses are appropriately timed out for our students. So the students should be doing a full day of school, and Wednesdays will be asynchronous Wednesdays as well. So from my understanding, students will probably still be virtual or doing their asynchronous work on Wednesdays and not in person. So it's Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday, with Wednesdays being asynchronous. And then in terms of the date time period, we start March 1st for just a 5-year-old laughing in the background. There is Phoebe. There is K through 2, March 1st. It is March 15th, 3 through 5 in 9th grade, and April is our 12th graders. And then we plan to go for the whole rest of the school year. And given that we haven't had one missed day of school because we've frankly been virtual, we should be ending at the time the Baltimore City calendar is expected to end without an extension. And then we have to figure out what our summer program looks like and where that does start. And that should be communicated fairly soon.
Could you step back a little bit and explain asynchronous?
Yes, so asynchronous days are when students are not in class directly with a whole class, but they're working on assignments the teacher has given them. But there's also time on those days for teachers to do small group instruction, to do support for students if they're struggling or they need additional support with whatever, office hours, that kind of thing. There's supposed to be opportunity on those days to offer that kind of support. And Rashad, I would say, thank you for elevating that. And I would say, as students have told us tonight how they're not getting enough support from their teachers, we need to sort of reiterate how asynchronous days are working at our high schools and making sure that we are providing that space for that small group instruction or that additional support for our students who are flagging that they need.
Okay, I'm gonna just combine these two questions because they were basically about the same thing. So Naeem, he asked, how will students who have trades be able to do their trades? And Dante said, how will medical trades work? So basically the same question.
So when we opened up our schools in November, we actually opened up several CTE programs so that students could come in person for that because they needed to. So I think they need to check with their individual school program, because I do know our CTE office is actually working on offering in-person experiences with trades, because some of them you just can't do virtually. You can't fix a car on a computer screen, right? And so I know that some of those programs are coming back in person. Again, it's focused on our 9th and 12th graders. So, but we did do some of that in-person learning with CTE in the fall up until now, and we did prioritize CTE programs for our high schools. But I hope that we'll even offer more of that over the summer and the fall months as well. And I can't speak specifically on the medical programs, but I would offer that they should go back and ask their home schools what they're offering in terms of CTE programming. And if there's still questions or there are concerns about that, they can always circle back to us and we can find out more.
So before you go, it may be still a small window of time for young people, our youth here, and others that may be listening and watching, to give input on our CTE policy and programming moving forward for school year 22 and 23, right? So if you all are interested in that as well, you know how to follow up with me with some young people that may want to give insight on what the CTE look like in the school years coming forward.
Thank you so much for that. Lene, we had time, yo. You done see me say that like 5 times. She trying to sneak it in. Go ahead, sneak your last
question. This is like a personal question. Okay, so you had mentioned something about like asynchronous working. What about, because county, what they're doing hybrid learning. So you can come in A-day, B-day, A-day, B-day. You pick a day that you can come, like a week or a day that you want to come in. Will you guys incorporate hybrid learning instead? So they don't come in on Wednesdays, but they can choose Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, the days that they would like to come in.
So the way it's working right now is we gave families and students all what the grades we opened, everybody had the option to come back, right? And so with those grades, if the school has a higher number of students than they can accommodate in a one setting in a day, then they'll do hybrid. So that means some of those schools will offer an A-B day schedule because they frankly had a response rate. And some of our schools do have that, right? Where they have a response rate that's really high. And so the only way they can offer in-person learning is to do an A-B day schedule. There are other schools though that are undersubscribed for the number of students that wanted to come back. And for the plan has always been to offer as many in-person learning days as possible for our students. So for those schools that have a lower return rate, those schools will be offering in-person learning 4 days a week. So we did explore. I mean, when we wanted to open the fall, Delaney, to your point, we wanted to open this fall with a hybrid schedule. That was our plan all summer long of planning. We were hoping to be able to do that, but we just were not comfortable, right? We were not ready. We didn't know as much as we know about the virus that we know now. Time is a lot, it has a lot to do with it. So we weren't able to do that. But I can imagine that in the fall coming up, that could be a way that we do learning in the fall to make sure that we have an opportunity for more students to come back in person. That could be something we do, but we'll be able to announce that, in the coming months.
Thank you so much, Miss Tina. They will have you on here till midnight if you let them. You can't trust them in that type of way. You extended a whole extra hour and they still trying to go. But
And
I
it's okay.
appreciate it so much. This was so needed. You got so much love in the comments. We're going to let our heartbeats drop their jewels, and then we're going to ask you just to kind of do your closing thoughts and leave us with some jewels, because you've been so gracious to spend your time with us tonight, and we definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Ma, you wanna go first, and then Jordan, and then Lene can drop her bomb, because I know she got one.
See, look, my grandpa was trying to give me a Jew to say one.
Tell
All right.
Granddaddy, you got this.
So basically, my Jew is to stop procrastinating and just keep going for your dreams. So many dreams are now dead underneath the graveyard, and we have so much potential out here, especially in the youth. So don't keep on slacking off and keep on going and stop procrastinating on your dreams.
Dang, I was trying to think of one. He went quick. Okay. Understand that it is okay to take mental breaks. You do not have to hold the weight of the world on your shoulders because you're scared to ask for help. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay to take a couple minutes to take a deep breath. You know, nobody goes through life without asking for help or having a moment to themselves to just think and focus for a second. So just be comfortable with understanding that not everything is going to be okay 100% of the time.
Hi. Okay. So, hi everyone. So they call me Lene, the activist, for a reason. So my jewel today for y'all is we're gonna go all the way back to the Black Panther era. Okay.
She bring it in the TED Talk, y'all.
Be a revolutionary. That's my jewel for y'all.
Oh my God, it was short.
Right?
Don't do that.
Oh my God, it's gonna stop snowing.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on now. Don't do that. Okay,
good.
wait. I have to end it off like this. Thank y'all
Thanks,
for
Jordan.
coming for my TED Talk. I love y'all so much.
Bye, y'all. See y'all heartbeats. Y'all did great. Thank y'all so much. Mr. Rashad, you got a jewel for us before we give it back to Miss Tina to close us out?
I appreciate the space. I appreciate everyone being able to show up as your true selves, giving truth to power, giving voice to influence and decision making, giving voice to take control of your own lives and holding other people accountable to show up to better support you. Again, I think you all can call and are accepting the term heartbeats. And a heartbeat and the heart is the functionality of the body. Without that, the rest cannot function. And you all are making sure that we function in the best purpose and intentions, right? And with that, you all bring smiles to everyone. So continue to smile within yourself, smiling releases endorphins that allow you to live longer and to live stronger. So continue to be purposeful. And remember that you're not just up next, you're up now. All right, so thank you.
Yes,
That was
thank
great,
you.
Rashad.
Bring us home, Miss Tina. Give us your thoughts.
I know
Drop
Rashad
us with your
stole the
jewel.
thunder. His was deep. I'm like, I can compete with that, Rashad. No, I would just say, I'm gonna say again, like I said in the beginning of this, it is an honor and a privilege to be invited into this space. I thank you all for us to have the chance. You know, we thought about when we were doing our reopening work, we did not do a great job reaching out to our young people, and we're going to recommit to how we do that better. And so if we can come back, I would love to come back. I'm a former classroom teacher. This gives me life and breath to talk to young people. And I want to just thank all of them for coming in their true authentic selves, answering questions, telling their concerns, like that, making themselves vulnerable in this space in front of their peers to put out the concerns that they have. So I just appreciate that. And I'm gonna go back to what Mr. Mike said. I want you all to advocate for what you need and who you are. And if the first person who doesn't listen to you, go to the next person, right? And go to the next person. And then come to us if you need to, because ultimately it is our job to make sure you have a quality education and we connect with you and listen to your voice. And, you know, so we're not doing that the right way. If your one adult in your life is not doing that and you can't, you know, address it with them, Let's go to the next person and figure out how we get you what you need to be successful and keep shining bright. I know this time is hard. This time is challenging for a lot of us. You know, like I said, when I said I work 15-hour days, I really do work 15-hour days. There's no lie. I get up, I get on my computer at 8. I'm getting off a meeting usually at this time every night, put my kids to bed, and I'm back on my computer. Rashad knows he gets emails from me at midnight a lot of the time. So does Corinne and Sabrina. It is a reality. But I want you to, as someone else said earlier, just keep focused. It's hard. We're in a pandemic. You do your best, but take time for yourself, take breaks for yourself, and know that don't let the perfect get in the way of the good, right? You can't be perfect all the time. I tell my children that all the time. You do the best that you can do. You advocate for yourself, and we are here for you, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. This is such a blessing. I know you say you appreciate us, but we appreciate you more because it's not often that people take time out of their day to come down and really, really authentically engage with the hardest group of people to engage with, because they definitely going to hold you accountable
and they
definitely going to ask their questions. And I just appreciate you just being in that space and allowing them to feel heard and to feel seen. Thank
Absolutely. And we take copious notes too. With it, trust me, it all goes back, y'all. It's all going back.
Oh yeah. And Cam, she got a meticulous sheet of all of the chat questions. So the ones we didn't get
Perfect.
to, we're going to send them right on over, and however you guys can get us back the answers. And you know, you welcome back anytime you want. You just let us know.
Thank you.
You're the only person we go over time for, because they know I normally cut. It don't matter what's going on. Bye. See y'all.
Yeah. Thank you.
This was too important though. So thank you so much. And thank you to your team too for helping us out.
Absolutely. And in fact, we'd love to come back after we get reopened and get feedback, right, on how it's going and what's happening. So let's figure out a plan and do it.
We here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, good night. Thank you, Miss Tina. See you, Corinne. See you, Sabrina. See you, Rashad.
And thanks, team, for staying on late with me. They're probably like, why she say yes? I'm like, because they got to stay on with me.
I know, right?
This is a good opportunity.
Got you caught up.
Thanks, Miss Joni. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No problem. See you guys. Have a good night.
Okay. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye. Y'all, what a fire session, man. What a fire session. Y'all always show up. I always appreciate it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Like, I can't say that enough. And definitely thank you to my girl, Chaos Smoothies, yo, with the Twitter fingers on the chat, yo, catching all of the questions. We definitely want to make sure that the questions get answered, like even if we got to send out like a Q&A sheet or something like that. And we're also going to invite Miss Tina back, just kind of like how she said, hey, once we get schools open, let's talk about how it's going. So this is great, y'all. This is great. You actually get to talk with decision makers and get things done. Like, make things the way that you will want them to be, yo. I love it. I love it. I love it. Y'all already know what I'm about to say, yo. First of all, we way over time, and y'all just completely stomped all over Beats time. Why would y'all do that, yo? y'all completely stomped over Beats time. But this was a very important conversation. Y'all already know what I'm about to go say. Yo, go be productive. You got about a good hour or so within your workday. Go do something that's connected to your goals. Go do something that's connected to your version of success. And if you ain't got no goals, what we got, y'all? We got a bigger problem and we need to talk, y'all. But go be productive. Go do something that's going to help you advance, that's going to help you get closer and closer towards your version of success. If y'all rocking with us tomorrow, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow on Focus Friday. And if y'all didn't know, remember when Bree came in here, Candy Cabals Bree, and said, y'all want to bless somebody with $100? Mind y'all, she 18 years old, y'all. Going through her own stuff. And I ain't gonna put our business out there, but going through her own stuff at home, personally, professionally, all that. and still decided to show up and said she wanted to bless somebody with $100. If y'all didn't know, congratulations to Amari for catching that $100 blessing, because if y'all been paying attention, Amari really has been stepping up, yo. Like stepping up in a major way across the board. And I'm just proud and blessed to be able to watch her growth. So y'all make sure y'all give her all the love and congratulations and all that. And definitely make sure y'all show Bree some love for just jumping on here doing that, because that's crazy. Cam, you said it. Resilience. If that's not resilience, I don't, in like the real kind of resilience, yo, people got problems and then some people got problems. Bree got problems, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. So for her to be able to stand on her 2 feet and bless somebody else, man, that is a blessing within itself. So thank y'all so much again for tonight. I'll see y'all tomorrow on Focus Friday. Good night, y'all. I'm out of here.